So like I said, facts over feelings, and I've seen quite a variety of people basically state quite a few things, right? But this brother pretty much summed up exactly what I and Young Thug was saying, right? Quote, if you are not financially stable or you are living paycheck to paycheck, please do not procreate yet. It makes your life and your future children's lives incredibly harder than it should be. All right, so yet again, this is Facts Over Feelings, and we are going to clearly be going over some feelings, right, in this image. Now, excuse the blurtness if you're, seeing this by way of television or what have you. I'm just going to read it from the picture that I have, right? So we're going to start from the top, right? We are officially screwed, oh my effing G. To say something so disrespectful, elitist pricks like this get their bag and crap on the less fortunate and people admitting this BS. He came from nothing himself, and people say that this is facts. I see a lot of people forget where they came from then. Turn around and then pass judgment on others like they wasn't there at that point. If this or your parents felt like that, his retarded butt wouldn't be here and show others. Kids are diamonds in the rough. It's people like him who started this culture in our community. Criminal behavior didn't start with us, but got the nerve, embrace that culture, then condemning others for it. Please stop with this bizarre thinking. First of all, let's just kind of try to dissect this as quick as possible. Nothing about what he stated is disrespectful. If the shoe fits, if you feel that you are offended by it, maybe you need to take a look at your life and try to figure out why it is that you're offended by his comments. Is he specifically talking to you? Did he call you out? Is he talking about your family? Did he point something out in your life that you are not ready to take full-on responsibility for, right? And then you want to call him, in a sense, an elitist prick and saying that he is crapping on everybody else. Young Thug has in his music, just like a lot of other rappers do, they talk about where it is that they came from. They talk about how it is that they grew up, right? And then from that, they talk about how they never want to go back through that struggle and how they would never want to put their kids through that struggle either, right? He's clearly talking from experience. Whether, like I said, I'm not sure if he has kids or not, but if he had kids, before he got rich, he would be obviously talking from experience, meaning that, all right, so my parents raised me in the same circumstance, right? And then I decided to, in a sense, have a child roughly in those same circumstances. But let's pay attention. Unlike the rest of his family, he broke that chain, right? He decided that, yo, I don't want to do the same thing that my family, my parents did, and I don't want my child to basically grow up in those exact same circumstances. So let me sit up there and do something that's going to give them or deliver to them a better outcome, right? And then you want to throw a sly remark in there, because I'm the one that basically stated that this is facts, right? Which it is. I would just love it if people really have an issue with what it is that I am stating, that you just use the at symbol and then you put my name directly in there so that we can clearly have this conversation. I don't have time for people to try to, do some Drake type of ish where it's like, yeah, I'm going to talk about you but not really talk about you. I don't got time for that. We adults. Ain't nobody rappers out here. If I see a problem with something that it is that you're stating, or I want to have a conversation, I'm going to sit up there and highlight your comment in a video just like I'm doing right now. So that's me calling you directly out so that, hey, you can freely respond in the comment section if you want to. Like I said, we're not rappers. This ain't no rap beef. I'm not. I'm like I said, I'm not for all this. Whatever this is, like, that's nonsense. The only thing I basically tell people is like, yo, stay on topic. If you have a factual issue with what it is that he is stating and you can provide those facts, then so be it. No problem. If you're just clearly going from your feelings, that's going to be a problem, because anybody can dismantle feelings, right? So let's go to the second one. The second one is PD Chicago stated, okay, he is the same dude who wore a wedding dress and stated that he is married to the game. For those who don't give an F what celebrities say but still live responsibly. Like I said before, I can disagree with a lot of what a lot of the black men do when it comes to rap, when it comes to fashion, wearing dresses, wearing skirts, and a variety of different things like that. But if somebody is making a valid point and there are facts to prove how valid that point is, I don't see why people want to try to dissect the fact by adding in a whole bunch of other things that have nothing to do with it. Everything that he stated is a fact. If you are a broke human being, you should not be sitting up there having kids, because all you're doing is then putting that burden of brokenness directly on your children. You weren't successfully able to get yourself out of your circumstances. So why would you create a child and put them in the exact same circumstances, hoping that things are going to sit up there and be different when you couldn't deliver yourself out of that? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you can barely pay for yourself, why would you then bring a child into this planet, onto this plane of existence, and then expect for them to be able to automatically do different? That's crazy. This is, like I said before in the video, this is how we have generational curses in the black community, because nobody wants to be the one to break it, right? So next we got Miss Cardio Queen stated, I think people should mind their business. No, when it deals with facts, nobody should be minding their business. A fact is a fact. What you're speaking on is that you're offended, or you're offended for other people. You don't like it when people can point out certain things and it's a fact, and because you can't, in a sense, break apart or dissect that fact into something else, now you want to have a problem. Now you want to start attacking things with your feelings, because you, or the people that you're being defensive for, feel attacked. Like I said, keyword feel. If people take responsibility and acceptance and acknowledge, right, the things that they decide to commit to, none of these things would even be a problem. Next person, Miss Peoples. He is wrong because our ancestors came from nothing and did great and mighty works. Some of these people got money, fame, and etc., waste their sperm and eggs, and still do not want children. So case in point, let's go back to the first part. Stated that our ancestors, that's great. We're talking about a previous timeline, which none of us are clearly existing in at this moment in time. We're talking, the fact here is that we're talking about the present. The fact here is that we're talking about that every single living person on this planet, right? Not dealing with extenuating circumstances where people are attacked and assaulted. We're dealing with consensual things that are taking place, right? In between a man and a woman. A man and a woman get together. They can decide, A, we're going to sit up there and get together. B, we're going to decide to get together and we're going to have unprotected relations. Or C, we're going to get together, have unprotected relations, and bring a child into a world that doesn't need to be here, because we can't specifically find a way to mitigate brokenness. I'm not exactly sure what is taking place out here. I'm not sure what is wrong with the mentality when it deals with the black community and wanting to curb poverty, right? Wanting to invest in themselves, right? Wanting to be prosperous, right? Wanting to have financial literacy, right? Wanting to be able to pass down something to their children. Because let's get real for a minute. The greater majority of us, even the ones watching this platform at this moment in time, a lot of us, if we were to die right now, we don't have anything to pass down to our kids. We don't have $100,000, $200,000, $1 million. We don't have an estate to pass down to our kids. So it's a little bit astonishing to me that you have black people that barely have anything to themselves at this moment in time, who want to sit up here and try to speak so highly as if they know what's best. Like I said before, my grandmother stated that she would never want the circumstances that she grew up in, that she went through, for her kids. And she sat up there and did the utmost to do so. She was a black woman. She was married, right? Twice. And she had her kids. And she also put herself through school, right? And then the daughters that she had, all of them have some form of education from college, right? Two of them are nurses. One that is retired from the state and one that is currently working as a nurse at this current point in time. So like I said before, no adult, no parent worth their salt wants their kids, wants their offspring to struggle and be in the exact same constraints, right, and confinement of which they were when it comes to finances, when it comes to their education, the betterment of self, and different things of that nature. Like I said before, every parent normally wants the best for their kids, but as I'm reading through comments, obviously not. A comment from Twitter stated, I agree to a certain extent, but having a kid can make you get out of and go get some money. It sure as hell made me get the F up and not drug dealing. I would hope nobody risking their freedom knowing they have kids on the way. Now I can understand what he's saying, right? He's saying that the kids ended up being a motivational factor for him, that at the point in time before he had kids, he more than likely didn't take things serious. He didn't see himself where he more than likely sees himself at this moment in time, because he now has somebody else watching him. He now has somebody else that he knows can potentially decide to deviate from the correct path and do other things. So he had to sit up there and straighten up, right? And that's cool. That's great. Maybe you got some guys out here where they're in the worst of the worst. They're in gangs. They're doing all this other type of stuff and yada yada yada. Maybe they're not taking life serious, right? So then this kid showed up, and then it made them a better person. That's cool. That's a great story. Nothing wrong with that. But this is what I'm sitting up there saying. When it comes to life, at no point in time should it take another individual, in a sense, to make you realize what was already there in the beginning, right? You should already be trying to do that work on you. The problem is that a lot of people don't want to do that necessary work. So this is when you have a lot of people saying that, yo, my kids made me better. My kids this, my kids that. Realistically, it's not your kids' job to make you a better adult. It is not. It is your job as an adult to make sure that you are a better adult. Like I said before, this takes place because people are not willing to sit down and do the work and take the initiative to take that lonely journey of self in order to find and figure out self. Family can be a big part of getting out of poverty. That's why immigrants in America are able to run so many restaurants and other businesses. Actually, that's not the 100% of it. Yes, they do have support, right? Yes, they do have that community, that love and everything like that. But it's actually a little bit more to that, also dealing with the system and different things like that. Like certain things are more beneficial and more footed towards people from other countries, and they make certain things readily accessible when it comes to funding and different things, of that nature. But when it comes to family being a big part in America versus immigrants coming from any other country, they already have that love for family. They're already, close knit. They don't have any type of system that has impaired that type of love and respect and admiration and value when it deals with family, when it deals with their community. So they're, in a sense, anybody coming from a different country is already coming from roughly, in a sense, more of a whole type of situation versus Black Americans, right? And then again, diving into that psychology, then that comes in with Black Americans, where it's like, yeah, we could easily sit up there and do a lot of these things, but we don't necessarily have that safety net. And I mean safety net by that support from the community and even our own friends and family. Because when a lot of us want to actually switch gears and we want to try to better ourselves, we want to try to better our families and different things like that, you'll get a lot of resistance from your best friends, from other friends, from your families, or even some of the people that you might be dating. People will sit up there and look at you as odd, as weird, and they'll sit up there and tell you like, oh, that's not going to sit up there and work, or how are you going to sit up there and do this? I think that sounds impossible. Why not just sit up there and do X, Y? Like, they'll sit up there and give you all of those other things versus families from other countries, right? Where they already have that type of love, that type of bond. They're going to be like, all right, so you want to open up a business? All right, so the whole family basically gets together and everybody basically throws out ideas. Everybody cooks over the whole pot, and they're like, all right, let's see what we can sit up there and put together for this business plan, for this idea, for this business. What do we want to sell? How do we want to market it? What color should it be? What's going to be the name? What's going to be directly inside of it? What's going to be the interior? right? They'll have all of these things. And then on top of that, to take it to a further extent, a lot of the families of immigrants, they'll also work within that restaurant. They'll sit up there and take shifts. So therefore, everybody's going to be able to make something off of something. Everybody's going to learn a type of skill, whether it's stocking, whether it's dealing with the people that bring in the products, whether it's dealing with how to, manage the money, the till, or if it's cooking or setting up displays, a variety of things. Like I said, everything that family, that immigrant family, is sitting up there doing is setting their family up to basically work for other businesses, and they're going to get those jobs a lot quicker than we would, because they already have the necessary in a sense education, right, to do the job a lot better. As they wouldn't have to sit up there and train them. They would have to train us. Why? Because we didn't grow up in a family that had stores, that have businesses, where we're sitting up there working a variety of different areas, breaking out of our comfortability zones and different things of that nature. So like I said before, this person right here, Prince of Red Light, technically he very much has a very good point. I wish he would have actually expounded on it a little bit better, but he has a point.
Here comes a new challenger.
Nothing but truth stated. He isn't wrong, but I also believe men who sleep with men shouldn't have kids either, or men who wear skirts and dresses. I replied, so what does any of this have to do with the topics, facts over feelings? He later replied, yes, facts over feelings, I agree with him, but as a man who wears a dress and skirt as he does, he shouldn't have them either. Remember, truth over feelings. Thanks, bro. Have a good one. And then we got Mark Newsom, stated that facts, bruh, a man in a dress or a skirt is suspect. Later on, he came back and responded to Mark, be careful, bro, before people say you're choosing feelings over facts, even when you agree with the man in female clothes' opinion. This is my thing. As a man, very straightforward. If I have an issue with somebody's opinion, I can clearly sit up there and state that. Or if I would want you to expound upon it more, I'm going to sit up there and ask a question, and I'm going to make sure I'm directing everything directly towards you, right? My thing is, what I find with quite a few men out here is that when they have issues with what it is that you're saying, they want to pull some Drake type of stuff, and they want to throw something. They want to throw a shot without really throwing a shot, which doesn't make any sense. We're grown men at the end of the day. If you feel that I called you out wrongly, you can clearly sit up there and say that. But that's not what you wanted to sit up here and do. You didn't want to sit up there and continue the conversation. You ended it by saying, thanks, bro. Have a good one. Which means that, all right, this is what I'm going to have to say, and that's it. I'm not trying to continue conversating with you anymore, right? I've made my point, right? That's what you did. But then you want to come back later underneath the post in response to Mark and basically state that you have a problem. Be careful, bro, before people say you're choosing your feelings over facts. Bro, it's not people, it's me. It's clear cut, it's me. Like I said, be a man at the end of the day. You're clearly talking about Young Thug wearing dresses and him supposedly sleeping with like other guys. I'm not that deep into this dude's, to Young Thug's relationships like that, so I wouldn't know. I don't really keep track of stuff like that unless those celebrities really make it be known and it's completely obvious. Like I said, I'm not digging that deep into who another man is 100% sleeping with. I'm not. But yet, that is what you're clearly doing at this moment in time. And you're using him, his fashion, whatever he was doing, wearing dresses, skirts, whatever it is, and the supposed accusations that you're putting out there as to basically say that, yo, regardless, like, his stuff is still suspect. He shouldn't be saying what it is that he's saying because he has no bearings on this because of look what he's doing. But yet, y'all the same ones that sit up there and say, I'm tired of these celebrities, all these black rappers and athletes with money, and they're not trying to help out the community. They're not giving us no advice. They're not looking out for us. But here you got Young Thug sitting up here telling you something, and this is stuff that he's experienced. And you're trying to invalidate his point by basically bringing up stuff that he has previously, or at least one thing that he's previously done that we all know of, which is him wearing a dress. Like I said, people can't even stay on topic. Like I said before, I guess because he's done stuff that you disagree with, you want to make sure that you let people know that you're a 100% man, right? Like I said, I don't know. I don't know what type of time people on at this moment in time, but none of this makes any type of sense. The whole moral of the story is, if you can't afford yourself, you can't afford kids. And that's just facts. For a lot of people out there that want to say that, oh, this, that, and the third, look how I grew up, look how I ended, and all this other type of stuff, everything, just because you're a variable that feels that suffering and living in those circumstances are great and it builds great character, doesn't mean that everybody else needs to go through that exact same thing. And this is the problem with the black community. We, in a sense, love the whole thing of suffrage. We love the whole thing of, just being, quote unquote, a victim. But at the same time, we're always saying how strong and how resilient and how this and how that we are. Which one is it? That's all I'm sitting up there saying. Because when you got black people that want to point out certain stuff to y'all, now y'all want to sit up there and start trying to clown him. Now y'all want to start trying to invalidate his point. But then when none of these celebrities are caring about you, caring about the community, caring about your kids, now you want to start hooping and hollering, talking about woe is me, we the victims out here, we built y'all, and this, that, and the third, and all this other type of stuff. Like I said before, a lot of black people, they're not ready to sit up there and actually be the full-fledged adults that their age, in a sense, shows that they should be. And this comes into the fact of a lot of people are not willing to sit down and do the work and work on self before they decide to commit to an action that they will have to sit up there and dig themselves out of, aka creating brand new life, when you can't even, quote unquote, create brand new wealth for yourself.